Hello, this is Mr. Falk. What I want to do today is share with you what a typical lesson might look like for your child in my pre-algebra, pre-algebra accelerated, or algebra 1 advanced classes might look like. Now obviously the lessons would be different for each class, but the format is pretty much the same. What I'll show you today is from a pre-algebra class. The first thing that we would do is go to Explore It, and it would bring up a little example. For example, a popular beach erodes 4 inches per year on average. How many years will it take for the coastline to erode 1 foot? Well, we're learning how to multiply positive and negative numbers. In this case, we're multiplying a negative number because it's eroding 4 inches per year, and then you're trying to find out how many years it will take to go 12 inches or 1 foot. After we go through that one for a little bit, we'll come back over here and we will go to example 1. And example 1 is an animated exercise. It will take us through about 30 seconds that I need to let this go so that you'll be able to get a feel for what it's like. This is actually 2 minutes and 27 seconds long, but the first part is 30 seconds, and I'd like for you to see that.
How do the signs of factors affect their product? Think about this question during the lesson. While playing a board game, Unlucky Lawrence had to move back 2 spaces for 4 turns in a row. What integer represents his change in position? You can use a number line to represent the change in position on the game board. 0 represents the starting position. What integer can you use to represent the number of spaces Lawrence had to move back each turn?
Select your answer.
Okay, at this point the video stops. I don't know if you can see it or not. On an earlier time when I tried this presentation, you can't see the little lines at the bottom. But what it shows is that the video stops at 3 different locations on the presentation. And at those 3 different places there's an opportunity to answer a question that assesses your understanding of what they're trying to get across here. For example, it says to select your answer. Let's say that I thought the answer was 2. I come up here and I place it there, and it says, no, you got that answer wrong. So the next thing you do is you try another one. I think then it must be -2. And when I select -2, it progresses with the lesson at that point, and the video starts up again. And it keeps on going with...
Then you count back 2 ticks.
And explains how they got that answer. It has 2 sections to this one, and it gives another problem, and then it says, I need you to convince me how to do this problem. That gives you the extra thinking. Instead of just doing exercises, they have an opportunity to show what they've learned. Then we come to example 2, and it's another example of something doing a negative change, and how many times do you do that negative change. Then we go to example 3. And example 3 is use a number line to represent -3 times -10. Now, down at the bottom of the screen, there's a next button. Once again, I don't know that you can see it, but once you click the next button, it gives you 1 step in solving the problem. Hit the next button again, gives you another step. The next button one more time, and it gives you the 3rd step, and finally the 4th step. Then it tells you to go to part B. And there's part B, and then there's some exercises for us to try. The next thing we do was to come down here to additional examples. If there was some difficulty in understanding the material, we have the opportunity to try additional examples. Then we do the key concept, and the key concept is the thing that we are trying to get across for this lesson. And that is, when multiplying 2 integers, the sign of the product depends on the sign of the factors. If the signs are the same, the product is positive. If the signs are different, the product is negative. That's what we want them to understand, and we want them, the students, to know this is what we want them to understand. The next thing we do is we go through some questions that find out, do they understand? And we ask those questions, and we assess whether or not we've got a sufficient understanding to be able to move on to do you know how. Once we've decided that we do understand it well enough, there are about 13 to 15 do you know how questions. or exercises in which they apply their information. Apply their learning. We will do those each day in class using pencil and paper. Everything can't be done on digital, as we know, so we'll do it on pencil and paper in class. After we've done those do you know how questions, we then progress to, let me make this back to smaller again, we progress to the lesson quiz for the day. And using the lesson quiz, there are always 5 questions. And it'll ask a question, what is the sign of each product? Choose positive or negative. It'll give you an exercise, -3 times -15. The same signs means that it's going to be positive, and so you come over here and you choose positive. Do that for each exercise on the first problem, and then you move on to the next problem. You do 5 questions. At the end of the 5 questions, you would submit the test and find out what your score was. I will find out what their score was, and I will know which questions they missed, which is important because each question is designed to find out, do they understand a particular part of the lesson. Then it's time for homework, and that homework is done with the Math Excel for School practice and problem solving. So we come to that, and it usually has about 14 or 15 questions that it will have for your students' homework. We start the lesson. And this is what I want to share with you about this. I mean, there are 14 problems on this one, and they'll have the opportunity to do those. But what if they don't understand and I'm not there to help them? Well, or if there's something that they go to you and it's something that you know, but you've forgotten it because you haven't been doing algebra in a long time. Let's say that the answer to this, the answer should be 24, but we put -24. Now down here at the bottom, there's an opportunity to check your answer. We check the answer and it says, sorry, that's not correct. And it gives you some suggestion of what to do. But if you don't know the answer after seeing that, then you can come up here to the top again where it says question help. Click on question help and it has two choices there. Help me solve this or view an example. You can click on help me solve this, and it will take you through step by step on how to do the problem. See, what it does here is it says write each factor as a product of -1 and a positive number. So this is let's say we put here 6, and we check our answer. It says excellent because we got it correct. If we missed it, it would have addressed why we missed it. Now close that. And we go back up here to question help. If that didn't help, then it gives you the opportunity to view an example, and once again it will take you through step by step. I think this is a fantastic tool for doing the homework. Now, regarding homework and the lesson quizzes, for homework, if they submit it on time, they will get a 100% grade for homework. That is the grade that they will see in their final, that counts towards their final grade. They will also get, for the lesson quiz and for the homework, an accuracy grade that does not count towards their final grade. Okay, what we assess on are the things that they're supposed to know now after studying it for a while. But attempting it for the first time I don't believe it's fair to give them an accuracy grade. So the grade will show up on campus, but I will have it fixed so that the grade does not calculate into their quarter grade or their semester grade. It's there for me to be able to see how they're progressing on doing their homework or the lesson quiz. Are we being effective in learning? Are we not doing our homework in the right way? But whatever we do, we'll use those to be able to find out how to better address the students' learning needs. If we find out that there's additional things they need to learn, that they didn't understand, then we've got these additional things down here: reteach to build, understanding, vocabulary support, enrichment. If they understand the material well, then they get enrichment that will help them expand their learning on the topic. The Virtual Nerd is our videos that with someone teaching about a 2-minute lesson on what we're trying to learn. And then finally down here, additional practice and the adaptive practice powered by Newton. The adaptive part of this means that while they're taking this quiz, if they get 2 or 3 answers correct in a row, gives them the opportunity to answer a more difficult question. Then if they answer that, it gives them a more difficult question. And so it challenges all students to do their best. Now, if there's something that they don't understand and they miss a question, then it doesn't give them a more difficult question. It gives them one that addresses what they just missed. It's a valuable tool to be able to use to expand your child's learning. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. This is, by the way, this is not the only thing that we do in class. This is a guide for understanding. My job is to take this, use this tool, use my experience in teaching algebra and pre-algebra, and be able to help your child to be able to do their best in learning the material. But I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and if you have any questions, contact me. I'll be happy to address any that you have.